have Ms. Deepa D'Souza to give the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. AICS, the Association of the CBSE and ICSE Schools of Dakshina Kannada and Udupi districts, always thinks well ahead of time. It leads from the front with novel and creative ideas for the all-round development of both our students and teachers alike. Good afternoon once again, everybody. It is with great pleasure that I'm here today to participate in the AICS English Language Competencies and Experiential Learning Workshop on behalf of the AICS and the principal of Louth Central School. Let me warmly welcome you all for this afternoon session. First and foremost, I extend a cordial welcome to Reverend Father Robert D'Souza, the President, and Mrs. Anuradha Shivaram, the Secretary of AICS, and greatly acknowledge their initiative of organizing subject-related workshop by the schools of this association. At the same time, I extend a cordial welcome to our Vice Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Belita Mascarenas, and all the principals and vice principals present here. I feel honored to welcome all the teachers and my fellow colleagues for taking part in this workshop today. Let us take this forum as an opportunity for peer group learning, and let us learn and share with each other. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. I welcome you all once again to this workshop and hope that you all will have a fruitful session today. Thank you, one and all. Dear teachers, a kind request. I can see that all of us have logged in with our names, but if at all you have your device name there, please rename yourself with the name that you have registered for this workshop. Thank you, and over to Ma'am Vidya Joseph.
A very good afternoon to everyone gathered here. On this beautiful day, I take immense pleasure to introduce to you the two resource persons of today's workshop on competencies and experiential learning in English. I would like to begin with Ms. Shaila Pereira. She has a master's in English literature and Bachelor of Education. She has 21 years of teaching experience. She has worked in various educational institutions like Sarvodaya B.Ed College, Virajpet, Kodagu, Gyana Bodhini Higher Primary School, Bangalore, St. Victor's High School, Puttur, and D.Ed College, Gurpura, Mangalore. Presently, she is working at Louth Central School, having 16 years of teaching experience, teaching English for classes 6, 9 to 12. She was actively involved in the British Council project on children's rights and visited London as a part of the project. She believes in hard work and teamwork. Leading and living by example is what Ma'am Shaila is. She works hard to achieve her goal and also is a great inspiration to all her colleagues. Our second resource person for the day is Ms. Deepa D'Souza, who has a master's in English literature and Bachelor of Education. She has 16 years of teaching experience and has taught in ICSE and CBSE schools. At present, she is the coordinator of the English department at Louth Central School, teaching classes 9 to 12. She believes in the mantra, learning through collaboration with colleagues, peers, parents, and students. Her hobbies and interests are dramatics, music, and cooking. We all know public speaking is something we are not comfortable with, but Ma'am Deepa inspires us to be brave. She creates a picture of what's possible. We, her colleagues, can look at her and say, well, if she can do it, we can do it. She leads us by her example and makes it easy for us to follow her guidelines. Thank you. Over to the resource persons.
Once again, good afternoon to you, teachers. Today's workshop is on competency-based and experiential learning. First half of the session will be on competency-based learning, followed by the second half on experiential learning. So let's start this session with competency-based learning in an English language classroom. Before we initiate this session, let us stimulate our brain through an ice-breaking activity. No. Something is wrong. Okay. Something is wrong. Mhm. Click with the mouse. Click on the screen with the mouse. Not on the screen. Mm.
Exceptional logical thinking is rare in today's world. Do you think you have it? Well, let's find out with a couple of brain teasers. But don't sigh with relief just yet, because these riddles aren't as easy as you might think. Okay, here we go. Riddle number 1. Look at this toy pyramid carefully. In what order will you see the colors from the top view? You have 15 seconds to think about it. Have you prepared your answer yet? It's not that hard. Look at the pyramid carefully again. From the top view, you'll see the colors in this order: dark blue, light blue, green, yellow, and red. Easy peasy. Riddle number 2. There's a shelf of books in a library. On this shelf, a particular book is 4th from the left and the 6th from the right. Knowing this, can you figure out how many books there are on this shelf?
Teachers, guess. You have 15 seconds. You can answer in the chat box.
Tick-tock. If your answer is 9, you're right, and should give yourself a pat on the back if your arm's long enough. If the book is the 4th from the left, that means there are 3 books before it. And if it's the 6th from the right, that means there are 5 books after it. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus the book itself gives us 9. Riddle number 3. Let's talk about family now. Imagine a family with 2 mothers, 2 daughters, 1 grandmother, and 1 granddaughter. The question is simple. How many people are in this family? Count them all in 15 seconds.
Teachers, try out. Please put it in the chat box. Yes, Miss Ina has got the right answer. Good. Yes, even Sonia, Vandana.
The key to cracking this riddle is remembering that one person isn't always only one thing. For example, someone's daughter is also someone else's granddaughter. In this particular family, there are actually 3 members: a grandmother, her daughter, and her granddaughter. Think about it. The grandmother is the mother to her daughter, while her daughter is the mother to her granddaughter. We guess family ties can be really confusing. Riddle number 4. O, T, T, F, F, S, S. There should be 3 more letters in this sequence. But what are they? Use these 15 seconds to crack this riddle.
Yes, answer it.
The correct answer is much simpler and easier than you probably thought. These numbers represent the first letters of the numbers 1 to 10. Here we finished on a 7, so the next 3 letters are E for 8, N for 9, and T for 10. Simply genius!
I'm sure each one of us must have tried to apply our own logics to solve these mind-tackling questions. To begin with, let me ask you a question. Why English in curriculum? When teachers, you can answer. You can use your chat box. Yes, very good. Yes. Miss Violet Vas, yes, says communication. It's right. What about others? Other than communication? Yes. We'll see why English in curriculum. Yes, it's a global language. As you said, communication. And it is spoken and understood by majority of the population. Lingua franca. English is a lingua franca for both domestic and international communication. Yes, language of every domain, that is for trade, industry, and communication. Builds confidence, imagination, and power to invent and create. And also, it provides opportunities to Indians to get employment everywhere in the world. And yes, it works as a powerful language of communication. So, English, due to its lingua franca status, is an aspiration language for most of Indians. Therefore, teaching in English should be given lot of importance and strengthened by improved methods, approaches, and techniques. Look at this picture now. Understand how the process of teaching and learning generally is. See the first scene over here. Yes, you can see the teacher is feeling self-accomplished by just passing the information which she has, and the student is just a mute spectator. What about the second scene here? What does it tell you? You can see here the child with multiple dreams entering the classroom, where loads of information is put on the child's head. And yes, it does graduate, but with minimum chances of getting job, and also does not possess any life skills to handle the real life situation. Okay, you can see here. So this picture requires us to retrospect and introspect and question ourselves. Are we simply teaching to test, or are we teaching students to handle themselves and their life well? So how should be our teaching? So next we come to the main focus of the lesson, where what is competency? What is competency? Can you tell me in the chat box? Yes? Yeah, yes, it's ability. Yes. Confidence to deliver during stress. Yes, right. Yes, skill. Gear up to face situations, right? Yes, we'll see now what is competency. That's right. So competency-based learning. Yes, as you said, it is a structured approach to learning and assessment. Giving up we need to give a clear-cut learning outcome, and assisting individuals, you can see here, to acquire knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values required to perform an activity to a specified standard. You can say that it is a model of education that focuses on the demonstration and application of learning rather than on time spent for the focus. So it's very important that we need to have faith in child's own ability, giving them room for independent thinking, and that's how critical thinking develops. Look at this slide now. So we usually take it as competency, as we get confused it with skills. But you can see this diagram. It gives a clear picture. Competency is nothing but a mixture of knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. So in simple terms, it is the acquisition of knowledge and skills with the needed attitude in order to take our learning beyond textbook to a real world. So it is fostering to a real world application. Okay, what are the 4 domains now? Competencies description at each stage are divided into 4 domains. Can you tell me the 4 domains? Yeah, please put it in the chat box, or you can say it loud. Yes, listening. Yes, right? Yes, it is LSRW. Yes, as you said, it's right. It's right. So yes, it's listening competencies, speaking, reading, and writing. Yes, all competencies are described in terms of elements that break down the competency into smaller components and refer to the essential linguistic features of the text. When I say smaller components, for example, if I take reading competency, what are those smaller components? What are those smaller competencies? If I take reading competency, what are the smaller components? Can you tell me? Yes, fluency, right? Good. Yes, intonation, pronunciation, yes, very good, yes. So these fluency, it also grammar, vocabulary, comprehension, everything is taken care of, yes. Now we go to the approaches and procedures involved in competency-based language teaching. So what should be the procedures? We have the domains, the learning, speaking, listening. So what are the approaches we can use it? So the first one. So when we take up the procedures, first is warm up. For example, the teacher can give a quiz or brain teaser or language games or divide the students into groups. Next, introduction. So teacher introduces the lesson or a topic or an activity. Presentation of new information. So teacher gives information required for the activity or the lesson. Check for understanding. Here, ask or check for students' previous knowledge on the topic. Allow the students to share their experiences with the others. Next step, guided practice. Teacher gives a clear guidelines and instructions regarding the activity. Next, unguided practice. Students are allowed here to discuss and work on the activity following the given guidelines. Feedback. Teacher and peer group feedback at intervals are very, very useful. The students are allowed to make corrections. And finally, it is evaluation. So teacher assesses the presentation and checks for the competency achieved. The overall point is to start with what the student knows, move to what is unknown, and practice the unknown until it becomes familiar. Let us now understand the procedure better with an example. We can take an example here. Okay, the topic is at the restaurant. Teachers, please know the thumb rule of competency-based learning is to give a clarity on the learning outcomes right in the beginning. So you can see the learning outcomes here and the competency, permanent learning, managing situation and information, verbal linguistic. So the procedure here. So the topic is at the restaurant. So what is the procedure here? Here the aim is to give an experience to the students to learn how to use the vocabulary in the unit and to perform a role play that is at the topic at the restaurant. So what is the procedure? First, divide the group in teams. This depends on how large the group is. The team can be of 3 or 4 students, 1 or 2 students to be the waiter, other 2 the customers, and 1 student to be a cashier. Second point, each team will make menus, review and make corrections. That is, menus with all the information, team has to keep it ready. Menu must contain the food under the correct categories with prices. Each team will present a menu to the teacher for revision. Teacher will correct if there are any mistakes, and once okay, the team can make the menus for their role play. Next one is creativity and art integrated. We know very well about the art integrated involving other subjects. Finally, the students enact the scene at the restaurant. Next comes is assessment. So we need to give a clear-cut parameters there. Creativity. So creativity, the way they decorate the table and also arrange the cutleries. Then comes performance, the manner of entering, greeting, escorting by the waiter and taking the order. Development of the role play, that is how the waiter brings in the food, the order in which each dish is brought, and how the customers act during the role play. So being natural in performance. And lastly, the closure. The customers must ask for the bill. The waiter will add the prices, present the total, and the waiter then bids goodbye to the customers. So in this simple activity, students are being taught to be competent in everyday activity they can encounter in their lives. Going to the restaurant and ordering for food, being in the role, that is maybe the job as a waiter or a customer, and they carry out this activity. So they're using the language to learn in the classroom in an effective and productive way. They are taking out of the classroom the knowledge they acquired and putting it in use. So now let's watch a video on reading competency. So it is LSRW, the main domains of competency based. So a small activity on reading competency. Are you ready? Yes. Here you can see that how the teacher can create an environment conducive for competency-based language teaching. Yes, just watch this.
Tell me, what is this? Munch. What is it? What is it? Very good. Now, I want to tell you this product name is Perk. What is the product name? That means the chocolate name is Perk. The chocolate name is? The chocolate name is? So, we call it as product name. We call it as? Very good. So, Perk is the product name. Perk is the? Very good. Now, if you observe very keenly, here you can see with small letters some other word. Some other word. That is Cadbury. What is it? What is it? Very good. Now I told you Perk is the product name. Which is the product name? Which is the product name? Perk. Very good. So, now I told you other name, right, children? What is the other name I told you? Cadbury. What is the other name? So why we are calling it as Cadbury, and why that pack is having other name as Cadbury? So this name is the product name. This packet name is Perk. So here we have Cadbury. It's nothing but brand name. What is it? What is it? Brand name. That means a big company. What is it? A big company is making all these chocolates. Making all these. So they have printed their company name, very small letters, and named it Cadbury. What is it? Cadbury. Here you can see the brand name. Here you can see the. So Perk's brand name is, what is the Perk brand name? What is it, Akshaya? Cadbury. Very good. Sit. Thank you. Now, Alina, Arush, Akshaya, Janvi, Pranil, and Zareen. Now they are going to tell which product name is Munch and what is its brand name. Okay. Now I ask Arush, which chocolate is Munch here? Munch. Very good. Take it out. Show to them. Okay, that's great. Now tell me what is the brand name on it. You can read the spelling. Brand name. Yeah, very good, Akshaya. You're helping him. Read it aloud. Ness? Yes, Nestle. What is the brand name? Nestle. T is silent. Yes. What is the brand name? Nestle. Very good. So what is the brand name for the chocolate Munch? Nestle. That's good. Now, I want Akshaya to tell the cost of this packet. What is the cost? 10 rupees. Is it 10 rupees? Show me the cost. Wow, that's good. Very good. Keep it there. Very good.
Now, what was the teacher doing here? You can use the chat box. What was the teacher doing? Did she extract the information, what the children knew? Yes, probing, yes. So children knew that it was a chocolate, it was Munch. And then, yes, it's through the practical experience, giving information, yes, competency-based, yes. Interaction, good. Yes, very good. So she asked about the product, then asked them to read the brand name, which we usually don't see it. So children were made familiar with the brand name and then the cost. So the knowledge to application. Now, after looking at the approach, now we'll see what is the difference between traditional and competency-based. So we have seen the competency-based language teaching here. Now, what is the differences? Traditional education. So here, traditional is passive learning, whereas competency is active learning, experiential learning, and student-centered. Next is fragmented curriculum, traditional, and here it is integrated curriculum. Facts and memorization. Now it is high order thinking, where the children remember, understand, apply, analyze, evidence, and create. Spoon-feed facts, whereas here leave space for independent thinking and critical reasoning. Here school centrality, whereas here society centrality, hands-on project. So that is the difference between the traditional and competency-based learning. Now another activity, a story, listening and speaking skills. You have to listen to the story. It's a simple activity. You have to listen to the story, then you have to repeat the story. So I'm going to play a text. It is short, but it has a lot of details. You have to really listen carefully and pay attention and then say it back. And when you do, I'm going to give you clues that will help you to remember. This exercise not only improves the child's listening, but also the speaking. So you have to speak in full sentences. So are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. So please listen to the story. Then you have to repeat it in full sentences.
This is Steve. He is 35 years old. He lives in California. He is a manager at a paper company. He works in a small office with only 12 other people. On his lunch breaks, he likes to visit the record store next door. He likes jazz and classical music. After work, Steve has dinner with his wife, Maria. They love to cook Spanish food together. After dinner, Steve and Maria go for a walk with their big white dog, Snowball.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you some clues. You have to repeat the story with as many details as you can. And you have to speak in full sentences. So use the clues given here on the screen. Are you ready? Hopefully you should have used those clues and you should remember 50% of the story at least. Are you ready? Yes, unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. 1 minute. Yes, yes, Miss Violet Vas, you can start. Yes.
Okay, the person, he's 35 years old and lives in California, and he's a manager in a company, and he has other 2 employees. And during the lunch break, he goes to a record shop and record store, and he likes jazz and classical music. And his wife's name is Maria, and both of them cook Spanish food. And after dinner, they go for a walk with a white dog, Snowball. Am I right?
Okay, very good. Yes, you missed out only his name is Steve.
Okay, that was not audible.
Yes,
Yes.
and he works in a small office with 12 other people.
Yes, yes.
12 other people, and then
I mentioned that 12 other people.
yeah, cook a
Colleagues, I said,
Spanish
yeah.
food together,
Yes,
and the dog's name is Snowball.
yes, yes, yes.
Can anyone else give a try with the story again? Yes, Sonia?
Can I try, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. This person's name is Steve. He's 35 years old. He lives in California. He's a manager. He works in a small office, and there are 12 people in the office. On his way, he likes to visit a radio shop, and he likes jazz music. His wife's name is Maria. They love Spanish food. They love to cook Spanish food, and they have dinner together. After dinner, they go for a walk with your dog, Snowball.
Oh, very good. Yes. Yes, you missed out just a paper company. It's paper company. So like this, yes, motivate the students to listen and speak it. So if they are able to speak or the whole story, it's very nice, or the 1 or 2 sentences, it's okay. So this is about the listening and speaking skill. Okay. In conclusion, so competency-based language teaching, so it's gaining popularity in the whole world. And it is argued that through the clearly defined outcomes and the continuous feedback, the quality of assessment as well as the students' learning and teaching are improved. So these improvements can be seen on all education levels, from primary school to university, and from academic studies to workplace training. Okay, that's the end of the first session. I hope it was informative. Now move on to the second half of the session. Over to Deepa ma'am.
Yes. Good afternoon, teachers. Well, sorry for the little bit of technical glitch. I guess this experience today is going to make us competent in managing technical problems, I'm sure. Okay, anyway, let us now begin with the second half of the session today. That is connecting again with competency-based education. Now, for our students to be competent, they need experience. Hence, experiential learning in English language classroom. So to maneuver this system also, I'm taking a little time. Please excuse me. So experiential learning in English language classroom. Now, before we get on with our session or experiential learning, let us have a lighter moment and tickle a funny bone with a few jokes. Now, these jokes, I must say, are riddles as well. So please be ready and use the chat box and give the answers, and they'll make us laugh as well. Let us share whether we understand this and we are able to crack it. So let's get on with this. The first question there for all of us is, why didn't the shark eat the clownfish? Now, let me give you a clue here. These words are used differently in different contexts. They can be homophones. They can be just using the word in a different context. Okay. So giving a clue there, I'm waiting eagerly for answers. Why do you think the shark didn't eat the clownfish? Anyone would like to give a try quickly? You can unmute or you can use the chat box, not a problem. Yes, ma'am, Sonia. Okay, ma'am Lorna says he's funny. All right. Why didn't the shark eat the clownfish? Okay, he is funny, no doubt. Ma'am Reshma, want to give a try? Yes, and he isn't hungry. Okay, see how to make assumptions. Yes, Reshma ma'am says because he couldn't stop laughing. And he's dieting. Oh, really? This makes us laugh, doesn't it? It tastes funny. Yes, ma'am Veera, you're bang on there. And it's a bullseye. He tastes funny. Okay, because the clownfish tasted funny. Ma'am Veera, thank you. And we all had a good time here, dieting and things like that. Okay, because the clownfish tasted funny. Now, clown, obviously, we associate it with fun, funny, and tasted funny. When something tastes weird and different, we refer to it as it tasting funny. Let's move to the second one. This is damn easy. I'm sure you will answer this. I guess you've already put in the chat box. Let me check. Why was 6 scared of 7? Anyone there? Because 7, 8, 9. Yes, that is ma'am Reshna with the answer. Because 7, 8, 9. Now, before I show the answer, can you give me what is used here? 7, 8, 9. EIGHT and ATE. They are nothing but, yes, ma'am?
Homophones.
Homophones. Thank you. So because 7, 8, 9. The last one is my favorite. Let's see. Why? Oh, okay, I let the answer loose there. Why didn't the skeleton go to the party? No chance to answer. Anyway, because it had no body to go with. Nobody? obviously skeleton, and nobody, no company to go with. So with this lighter note, let's move on and move to the next slide. There you go. Okay. At this time during the pandemic, looking at this picture, really, we want a weekend getaway, don't we? But not possible. I would like to put a question here rather. Which is your favorite holiday destination that you have been to? Okay. Which is your favorite holiday destination that you have been to? Anybody, you can unmute and tell. Okay, Ma'am Zan says it is Ooty. Ma'am Violet says Goa. Wow. Okay, Ooty and Goa. Many like Goa and Ooty. Okay. Yes, there Miss Maggie says Goa again. So let me ask Miss Violet. Miss Violet
Yes,
first.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
why
yes.
Goa? Could you tell me why Goa?
Go Goa anytime, ma'am. I just can't say now. It's so much to say about Goa. No, I just can't express it. It's just Goa.
Okay. It's inexplicable there, the experience there. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Yes. So
The
we
food.
are, and the food, of course.
Yes.
The entire experience that we have, you know, the sushegat, isn't it?
Yes.
At Goa. It is
Mm,
the hospitality of the people there and the
yes.
scenic beauty, everything. So basically, it is our experience that we have had there, the pleasant and happy experience that we associate with these places, right?
And
Okay.
moreover, ma'am, it's you just can be your own way of dressing about and you can marry.
You can
Unlike in
just be
Mangalore.
yourself, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. We dearly want that. We nearly want to be ourselves.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
place is
Yes.
really welcoming, you know, us.
Yes.
So we boil down to the same thing here, that it is our experience that we connect with these places that makes it remain fresh in our mind. So to say experience is the best teacher. And Julius Caesar himself said that experience is the teacher of all things. Now, I'll take you away from the places that we visited to something different, but I'm not changing the slide. I want all of us to think of a task or a skill that we learned, or probably might think of learning. It may be anything, maybe cooking, driving, or riding, anything for that matter. Now, tell me, did you stick to the theories of the task or the practical experience of doing the task itself? Now, let me ask, yeah, how many of you know how to drive a car? Just raise your hand. Yeah, quickly, little. How many of you know to drive? Okay, Ma'am Teresa says she knows to drive. Miss Reshna says she knows to drive. Yes. Okay, Ma'am Sunita says she knows to drive. Okay, Ma'am Sunita, did you stick to the book of how to drive?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. And Ma'am Lolita, did you check the book when to press the brake and whether the accelerator and the brakes go together, or it's the clutch and the brake?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It was all practical.
Yes, it was all practical. And I agree with you. I guess we all are on the same page here. Of course, we have the theory classes for driving, no doubt, right? We had to sit there and listen to the instructor for all the rules. But weren't we all eager to sit behind the wheels and get that experience of it over and over a period of time? We all have learned. We have tried out new things. We have improvised, haven't we? I guess we all will say in one voice, yes. So here, I'm trying to make a point that we don't remember the theories of the task or the job, but we do remember the experience of that task or that job. And we have learned through experience, even teaching for that matter. It was not our, of course, we are trained to be teachers, but did we actually, strictly go by the book there? No. Of course, subject knowledge, yes. But haven't we improvised with changing times, and more so with online classes? This experience of online classes has rendered us masters, I guess, and we are still learning. It's an ongoing process. So my dear teachers, I guess we all need to pause here and think and reflect on how to provide experiences to our students and facilitate their learning, whether it is online or offline. Giving a thought, let's move on to the next slide. What is experiential learning? Now, can you give me simple words? What is experiential learning? Now, this is too big. Can you give a try? In a phrase, what is experiential learning? If you have to ask a child what is experiential learning, I guess they would give you simple terms.
Learning by doing.
Learning by doing. Excellent. It is learning by doing. And thank you, Ma'am Gayatri, for that. It is nothing but learning by doing. Now, this is not a novel idea that I'm propounding today. It is something that all of us know. Then why this topic today? Well, it is with the hope that this experience today, for you and I both, would be a learning one. It would be a learning for all of us. And I must confess at this juncture that preparing for this workshop itself was a whole new experience for me, looking for material, discussions, technical know-how, and much, much more. Even collaboration with my colleagues who were there with me. It makes me emotional here. Okay. And this experience is sure to remain with me for long and go far. Yeah. So now let's look at what experiential learning focuses at. It focuses on practical application of knowledge and skills to real world experiences and further increases learners' knowledge, competence, skills, and behavior. So here we establish that if we have to make our students competent, if they have to be competent, and as you said, that they have to be confident speakers, or they have to use their knowledge and skills that they have acquired in a very effective manner, then we require to give them experiential learning. We need to give them the experience. Now, as I told you earlier, excuse me, experiential learning is not a newly founded term. As you can see in this slide, it was well understood and used way back in the BCs. As you can see, Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, said, for the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. And at the same time, Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, said, I hear, I know, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. Now, this approach of experiential learning is known to us Indians from ancient times. Can you tell me some examples for experiential learning in India, if you have to refer to the ancient times? Okay, you want me to give, okay. Anybody would like to try? Ma'am Lalita? Ancient times in India, experiential learning. How did this happen? What did they have schools like ours? Yes. Ma'am Sunita says there, and Miss Reshna also says, Gurukul system, no doubt. Gurukul system. Now, way back, if you have to think about Dronacharya or Valmiki, all these gurus taught their students through this approach called experiential learning. Even Rabindranath Tagore in his Shantiniketan also followed the experiential learning. Now, in the light of the new education policy, Prime Minister Modi and our education department have started bringing our focus on competency-based and experiential learning. So we need to buck up and we need to make this happen in our classes. Okay, let's move on. Now let us see how experiential learning happens in our English language classroom. As you can see here, experiential learning in an English language classroom is facilitated. It is built on the principle that language learning is facilitated when students are cooperatively involved in working on a project or a task. Let me highlight this here. Cooperatively involved on a project or a task. Does it ring a bell? When are the students cooperatively involved on a project or a task? Quickly in the chat box, or you can unmute, not a problem.
When they do it themselves.
When they do
they
it
are involved.
they're involved. When they do it themselves and they're involved hands-on. Now, when they do it themselves and they're involved as individuals, are we indicating at individual activities? We're talking about cooperatively involved in working on a project.
Group activity.
We're talking about group activity. So we can sum up here that experiential learning works well. Yes, ma'am, teamwork works really well when it is group activity or teamwork. That allows space for collaboration. Now, when the projects are challenging, communicative, and meaningful, and we provide opportunities for students for their ownership and partnership in this project, it will ultimately increase the students' engagement and reduces their distraction. You can see there in the picture that it reduces their distraction. Now, I'm sure that we are all on the same page here, that and with our observation that during a hands-on project, and especially group project, the most notorious and the most distracted student of our class would be active and they would be hands-on. Don't you agree here? Just give me a thumbs up if you agree with me.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So we know that experiential learning is really effective in our classes. It could be any subject for that matter. Now let's look at this model and understand experiential learning from Kolb's cycle of experiential learning here. It is self-explanatory as you see, but I would like to give a few examples. Concrete experience. Now there are 4 phases to Kolb's cycle of experiential learning. First is the concrete experience, where you can see doing and having an experience. Now, as a language teacher, how am I going to do it? I can use brainstorming, allow discussions, expose my students to the task itself. And the students are allowed to try out the task with the guidelines and the formats that we can give them. Once they've had that experience of doing the task, we move to the reflective observation phase. Here, as you see, there is reviewing done, reflection takes place. So when do we do the reflection? Obviously, when we have done the work, we sit back, take time, introspect, retrospect, do assessments, we give feedback. Now here, we give room for students to share their feedback with each other and allow their classmates or the group itself to make some changes. Teacher also will give her feedback. Now, taking the real experience, the concrete experience, taking the reflective observation, the reviews, students then move to the abstract conceptualization phase. Now, what happens here? Concluding, learning from the experience. Here, students take their learning from the experience and the reviews that they have made or got from their teachers and their peers, and they get a clear picture. What needs to be done in order to achieve the desired result or in order to achieve the learning outcome. Finally, they move to the active experimentation phase. Now here you can see they're planning, trying out what they have to do and finally perform or relate what they have planned. Say, for example, the students have been planning on a role play. So after all the 3 phases from concrete to abstract conceptualization, then comes the active experimentation where the students will perform the role play or they will deliver the speech or they will perform the drama. Moving to the next one. Let's see the importance of experiential learning in our classrooms. I might be reiterating, makes learning relatable to participants. Here, students build on what they already know and are provided with opportunities to make connections between new concepts and existing ones. It increases the effectiveness of learning. Now, in case of experiential learning, as we said, hands-on, the students are engaged in critical thinking, acquiring problem-solving skills, and are engaged in decision-making, hence rendering the whole learning process to be extremely effective. It increases the students' engagement. As I told you, hands-on activity, our students are, even the most distracted students are active. Excuse me. Fine. The next one. It assists in memory retention. Now, how does this happen? When in an experiential learning process or the task, the students are not working alone, as we said, they're in a group. Now, what happens when they are in a group? Could you share an experience here? Anybody who has had group activity? Smita ma'am, any group activity? Just from your view or your focus on it, how have you looked at your students' behavior when they are, not in a group and not on experiential learning, but they are in the, when we are just relating the lessons to them? Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So whenever any group activity is given, as you said, no, each one of them is totally involved in the activity, and there's nobody sitting aloof. Like everyone participates. It's like 100% participation of each student. And moreover, it's sometimes surprising, as you said, the naughtier one will be the first one to come out. And we get so many ideas. In fact, we are learning from their group activity. That's what I believe.
Yes, we are learning.
Yeah, we learn. Actually, we teachers learn till the, I think, last breath, I believe. I always say that.
Of course. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
And one more thing I would like, Lolita ma'am, has the group activity always gone about very smoothly?
No, not always, ma'am. There is lots of noise. I mean, it creates really chaos in the classes. Lots of noise, and someone must be thinking what noise this class is making. I mean, when especially these activities are done, group activities, very difficult to control them. Once you go to the one group and the other will be make noise. How much? I mean, it's difficult to control them when there are group activities.
Yes, it's difficult to control them. Now, are we going to focus on the discipline part of it, or this noise is welcome? It is necessary.
Yeah, this is necessary very much, because the learning is very important, not the discipline actually.
Yes.
Noise will be there for some time, but later on it's understood. The thing is, the people around us needs to understand this.
So we are making a point here, aren't we? That the children are building relationships here. They're talking with each other. They're probably having a tiff and they're having differences of opinion, but how they, come to common consensus, because finally at the end of the day, it is one product they have to present, isn't it? Yes. It's teamwork. So it's about, learning experience, as Ma'am Smita said, it's about chaos, but all of it is, guiding our students on a path where they can be competent in speaking, in problem solving, in decision-making skills. Don't you all agree? Okay, now the final one. It leads to development of skills for a lifelong learning. Now this myself, I have experienced, and I guess we all have experienced this. Now, when it comes for annual day, what a ruckus it is, isn't it? We are all hands-on, students, teachers, the entire staff. Annual day, we are really missing that, aren't we? Now, when it comes to annual day, haven't you seen our students perform in various levels? Now, say for a drama, if lower classes, maybe we teachers play, a lot of role in helping them out in guiding. But when we talk about higher classes, say class 10, class 11, class 12, anybody has an experience of, putting up a drama for the school with higher classes? Can you just tell me? You can say I, and we'll just share an experience here. I would share mine as well. And how can we say that it is a lifelong learning? How can, arranging a drama for a school can be a lifelong learning for the students? Can you apply this? Anybody? Yes, Sunita ma'am. Yeah. Or yeah, who else is there?
Students are involved themselves in writing the script and acting. Even I think they are allowed to choose the costume what they want. So it is a lifelong experience for them.
Okay. Yes.
They
ma'am.
learn to organize things actually, and that will be very, very helpful for them in their future.
Yes.
They learned, yes.
Yes, I have personally felt that, because the students have a hands-on in organizing things. They know that.
Can I-
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Can I add on to it, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Can
Sure.
Okay. When we give them to anchor as MCs for the function, they learn a lot. They write their own, MC part, and later on they present it so well. Even we are surprised through experience they learn, and they become very good orators later on. If at all we check the way they address the gathering.
You're right, very much. When we give them this experience of going before the crowd and speaking, there might have been students who are very good. They have that competence of performing before, but they are inhibited. They are shy, or probably they have that nervousness. But when we expose them, give them this exposure, give them this learning experience, then I guess we make their life. I guess this is a great responsibility on our shoulders to give the experience to our students. And as Ma'am Lolita
Ma'am, may
said-
I?
Yes, ma'am.
May I? Yeah. The thing is, what I have observed is our students, when they're given with the characters, they make it a point to know each and every detail about that character. So what they do is they understand the characters and then they play the role. So that has improved their, understanding skill as well as knowing about what character they are. So that is what I have observed.
Very nice. Yes, that's a good observation, ma'am. So here we, learn how to read, right? We might be reading situations, or reading what to do in a particular situation. I guess our literature lessons play a very important role in grooming us emotionally to handle situation. Don't you all agree on this? Because our lessons are replete with values. Yes, anyone else would like to share? This forum is for sharing. Shall we? Thank you so much, teachers, for your...
1 minute, Deepa.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Chetana, she said that not always there is noise in the class. And I think Apolline also, she seconded that, saying that we should have ground rules. I think if we keep these two things in mind, a systematic way of presenting our things, give the children earlier what is to be presented, what is to be done. They have to have ground rules. I think then there will not be much noise, and the other class teachers also will be happy with our presentations.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Yes, I will be speaking on the same because experiential learning, and we will be getting into the lesson plan and what it requires of us. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I didn't look at the chat box. Yes. Okay. Let's move on. Now, as language teachers, we'll share more things here. I have put some activities. What are the activities for hands-on experiences we can have in our language class? I have put a few here. You can see. You may use the chat box and let's share more with each other, so we get to know what other activities we can use. The first one I've put here is activities using newspapers. They come very handy for grammar activities, storytelling, graphic organizers, bubble map, or where we allow the students to pick the concepts and have a concept map or a mind map maybe. I have put something here, heart map. This is something I personally learned this year, and I am really thankful to my colleague, Ma'am Shanti. This is heart map. Now you can see the picture besides. I put the picture at the side. What happens here is, and this took place during online classes again, and during the class itself. That was really great. The students had to draw a heart. Teacher would give a topic. It could be festival. You can see the one there. It is Christmas, I guess the child has drawn. It could be online classes. Now, what the children had to do was they had to put everything that was close to their heart regarding that topic in that heart map. So the children got space to express themselves through illustrations and words. I think it's a great tool. The next one I've put there is Padlet activity for short description. I guess many of you would know about it. I myself use this Padlet activity, especially for character sketch, when we have to describe the character, and it becomes very easy because you share a common window where everybody is, posting their description of a particular character. and teacher can assess there. It can be a space for sharing of views. So instead of making noise or children saying that I cannot mute, unmute and things like that, you might as well go there and type. Next is illustrations. This is nothing but where we have a text, maybe a poem or so. The children will read it and they would present their interpretation through drawings. Yes, teachers, I hope you've used the chat box now. What other activities can we have? Okay, best from waste. Ma'am Meghna says best from waste. Nice. Any more activities that we can have hands-on? Best from waste is good. Recently, we had this best out of waste for Hindi. And it was really well used, where the students did different artifacts with the waste material, and they had to write the description in Hindi. So the tool for testing was really good. They just not made the material, they enjoyed making it, but they also had to write properly in Hindi the whole description. So it's like giving the recipe of the whole thing. So we know we use passive voices also there. Yes, anything else, teachers, that we can add on here for hands-on learning? Yes, Prajna ma'am.
May I? Deepa, it's Apollin.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah. We can also ask the students to start with a story, one line. A first child starts the story with a line, one sentence, and others add. And finally, a beautiful story comes out by participating all the students in the class.
Yes, that's also a good one. Nice, ma'am. So everybody would be ready now. This is next my turn. So what am I going to say? So everybody participates and ultimately improves their language. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, anybody else? Okay,
Prajna,
I can keep.
Prajna is saying about flip-flop games. Prajna,
ma'am, what is this?
Can you just tell us what is that?
Mama, it's a kind of game as well as activity. The thing what you have to do, is you have to give any word, general word, okay, and you'll have to ask them to tell positive about that thing, okay, and after a few times, after they tell 2 to 3 sentences, you have to again flip it. So they have to tell the next, and then again you have to flip it where the same thing again they have to tell positive. So this game.
Yeah, it's nice. I guess this can be used for pros and cons, isn't it, ma'am Prajna? When we look at pros and cons.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we can.
Very effective, very effective. Thank you so much. And Meghna ma'am has written mind mapping of a story. Is it similar to the bubble map and the graphic organizers, Meghna ma'am? Okay. Yeah, anybody else? Okay. Yeah, Gloria ma'am, any other hands-on activity and we can think of for our language classes? Sunita ma'am, Lavina Serao, ma'am Durga Shankar, ma'am Vivita.
Listening test can be done, ma'am, in the class, where we can show them a small video. Later, we can send questions through Google form. So children, they will listen to the story, then they will fill the Google form related to that story.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. You can see that I put a picture here, word wall. Has anybody tried this word wall? Pictionary, yes, Pictionary. Children just love that. Higher classes, my students used to love Pictionary. Divyaja ma'am says Pictionary. Yes, word wall. Now I checked this. I got to know about word wall recently from my colleague, and I checked this. It's really good. I think you must try this. You can go to the Google Chrome and you can put word wall, and it goes. You can join through your email. And you have different, choices there. You can have a pin. Say, for example, you want the students to speak on a topic. So you can ask them, spin this wheel, and the wheel spins and stops up at a particular topic. So I found this there are word crossword puzzles also, which you can make. This word wall, I found it's really good. You can use it in online mode. Okay, so I have put a few common ones here. The next is, role play, debates, jam. Yes, just a minute. So these are another few. Anything else we would like to add, or shall we move on? Okay, thank you so much. Yes, we move to the next slide. Here, as I told you, I have taken up.
Lona is asking what is Padlet? Padlet.
Okay, ma'am, shall we share it at the end of the session? I will give you a look. Yeah, we'll share the Padlet link and we'll show it to you how exactly it works later when we have the Q&A session. Is that okay, ma'am? Okay.
Yes,
So we'll
yes,
continue. Yeah. Now, yeah, there's something in the pad. Yeah, we'll do that later. So experiential learning lesson plan. Now I have picked here storytelling with puppets. Now, just like competency-based education or competency-based teaching, experiential learning also makes it imperative for us facilitators, as we are called now, that we make know the learning outcomes right in the beginning. So you want a group activity, you can add on their discipline also. So no noise. So you give them the focus. This is what you do stepwise, everything. So you're going to get a learning outcome. Eventually, you're going to present this, and I have put a few there. So it is a thumb rule even here for experiential learning that teachers, facilitators make known and establish the learning outcome right in the beginning. Our experiential learning lesson plan basically has got 3 phases. Now, teachers, I would be sharing the link for experiential lesson plan, CBSE link at the end. I will mention it when we are posting in the chat box. That will help you. And this link has got lesson plans for all subjects. So you can share it with your colleagues as well. Experiential learning lesson plan has got 3 phases. Now we'll look at it as we have taken storytelling with puppets, the topic. The first thing here is to set the stage. Now here the teacher has to check for prior knowledge. Now, how am I going to check for prior knowledge? Here the teacher can put, you can see the picture here, the students into groups and allow them to share their bag of stories. So since they have to present the storytelling with puppets, obviously they're going to need stories. Teacher will say, share your bag of stories, moral stories. Teacher needs certain pre-activity here. Now, what is it? Teacher has to give, a taste of it. So the children can watch videos. Teacher can share a video, maybe storytelling with puppets. We have Sesame Streets. We have, Gully Gully, Sim Sim, and many, many more. And not only that, we require to give some guidelines to the students, maybe links or even the steps as to how to make a puppet, a picture as to how a socks puppet will look like, dialogue writing format, all this. Next phase is the implementation of the lesson plan. Now, here it is necessary for us to spark curiosity of the student, how the lesson will be introduced in order to stimulate interest. As a teacher here, especially for storytelling with puppet, probably I could ask my students to choose a fairy tale character, their favorite one, or a cartoon character, and write 2 dialogues. Then the students would be asked to present their dialogues of that particular puppet, or the character, in front of their group. The teacher here would highlight, bring the note to the notice of the students, the difference between plain narration, the plain narrative of a story, and storytelling with dialogues. Now here the students will realize, yes, we can tell stories through dialogues. Now it goes to the next level where you have to provide experience. Here, nothing but hands-on. Students will start making their puppets that they require for the story that they have picked. They start writing the dialogues for the story that they have picked. There might be mistakes, but it's fine. Since they are here hands-on, and this is the concrete experience phase, if you remember in that cycle. Now we move on to drawing inferences. Now, what happens here? You remember the reflective observation phase? The students are going to record and document their observations. Okay, learning from this experience that they have had. Here they are going to document all the feedback that they have got from their classmates, from their teacher, and the experience that they have had in writing the dialogues and making the puppets. Now they have their reviews. So they are going to make changes based on the reviews. Next, we move to the final phase, That is the conclusive phase. Here, there is the conceptualization. As I told you, they have got the concrete experience, they have got the reviews, and now they're going to link all that, and they're going to move on to the final phase of presentation. So how as a facilitator, I would help this? Here, the students, would have got a taste of the experience in concrete experience. They would have got the reviews and feedbacks, and now they've planned their future course of action. They plan out on how to present it. And finally, whatever the presentation is, we need to connect it to real life. Here, the students record their feelings of the entire process. Now, please remember, there is something called as portfolio that we are required to ask our students to maintain. Student portfolio is very important for us for assessment as well. Now, we have to make our students to record this whole process of experiential learning for, say, for storytelling with Puppet. They're going to record their experience, how they made it, how they got reviews, what changes they made, what were their inner feelings, what emotions they went through, what learning they had. All this should be recorded in that for this activity. And the development they have made through this whole task. And eventually they realize that they have overcome, certain blockages they had, maybe inhibitions they had. They have enjoyed this activity of collaborating with people. They have eventually become better speakers if they were good. And if not, they have come out of their shell. They have started speaking. So children, if you sit and ask them also, they will share that with you. I guess we have had that experience too. Next, we need to extend this learning. How to extend this? The student should be given an opportunity to present that before the entire class or before the entire school maybe. Now you can see that I have put 2 pictures here. Now this is of our students of class 8. They had this storytelling with puppets. And it was mentored by our teacher, Ma'am Dilla Kulaso, who is also there in the meeting today. Our students had a hands-on learning in storytelling with puppets, where they not just wrote the script, of course, with Ma'am's guidance, they made their puppets and everything happened online. They edited it. The editing was so good. They did everything at home, and how they knitted together, how they put it together. Really, I was dumbstruck. So here, the facilitator, we have to provide the real life application, and hence we enhancing our children's oral skill in a world that believes when heard. So let us enjoy. Finally, it is assessment. Now, how this happens? We have to assess. We need to have parameters and descriptors, and the student portfolio becomes another tool for assessment. So please have that. Let's enjoy our show by our students, storytelling with puppets. Yes.
Today, I will tell you a beautiful story titled 4 Friends. Long ago, in a dense jungle, there lived 3 friends. A turtle, crow, and a mouse. They were very good friends and always helped one another. One day,
oh, what a lovely day it is.
Yes, the sun is shining so brightly.
Ka. The sky is clear. The breeze is cool. For a perfect day for a flight.
Who comes there? I haven't seen you in this jungle before.
I'm new here. I used to get quite lonely in the neighboring jungle. Eventually, I gave up trying to make new friends. And ultimately, I landed up here.
So you're all alone here without a friend?
Well, yes.
Ka. What shall we do? She does seem to be lonely.
She seems to be nice enough.
Maybe you can join us.
Really? Oh, thank you. Come on now. Where were we? Oh yeah, the sky.
And that's how they became great friends. Every day, they met in the same spot near the lake. A few months later,
Car. It's almost sunset. Where is she?
I have an obnoxious feeling that she's in trouble.
Oh, come on. She'll be fine. I bet she'll be here any moment now.
2 minutes passed. No deer. 10 minutes. No sign of her.
I don't think she's okay. You two stay here. I will look for her.
The crow looked for the deer everywhere. There was no sign of her anywhere.
Yes, teachers, I pause it here. Let me tell you that this video, the storytelling with puppet, is there in our YouTube channel, Lute Central School YouTube channel. Please watch it there since it is time. Let's move on. Shall we? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We can complete it.
Now we have a hands-on, that is storytelling. Quiz time. Now here is a link, Quizzes link, which we can also use in our language classroom. So you can enjoy this quiz. It is a nice effect where something like Kaun Banega Crorepati. You have the music, the timer, and all that. So you have the link in the chat box. Kindly click on it, and you can enjoy the quiz. It is related to our workshop today on competency-based and experiential learning. There are 5 questions. The creator here would be clicking on next button to proceed. Meanwhile, we'll continue with our workshop. You can also click and enjoy the quiz. Okay. So with this, I come to the end. Thank you. And please find your feedback form link as well in the chat box. Please find the feedback form link in the chat box, and you will receive your participation certificates in your email. Kindly fill the feedback form and let us know your views and opinions. Please help us out here. Yes. The Quizzes link is also there. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Well, later, if we are staying for the Q&A, we can share the Padlet. Meanwhile, I pass on to Ma'am Shaila. Yeah, the Padlet link is also sent. Padlet link is also sent. Yeah, you can check. Yeah, over to Ma'am Shaila for a vote of thanks.
It's my pleasure to thank everyone in this session. Sometimes the smallest thing makes the biggest niche in our little heart. And such a magical thing is the phrase, thank you. So I would like to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Ikes and Lute Central School. First and foremost, I bow my head in thanksgiving to the Lord Almighty for blessing us with this special day. Real leaders are ordinary people with extraordinary determination. A word of appreciation to such determined persons in Reverend Father Robert D'Souza, the President, and Mrs. Anuradha Shivaram, the Secretary of Ikes, for organizing this session. Surely, platforms like these give us the opportunity to deal with students differently. Thank you, Father. Thank you, ma'am. I thank the principals of different schools and all the teachers for your active participation in the workshop. It was really and experience for us as well. My sincere thanks to my all fellow colleagues for their personal and technical support who have worked behind the scene to keep everything ready for this workshop. I also thank our Vice Principal, Ma'am, Ms. Melita Mascarenhas. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, and may God bless us all. Thank you, teachers.
Yeah, ma'am Lorna, you were asking for the Padlet activity. The link is sent in the chat box. Did you find it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Did you find it, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Are
you.
we posting it again, the Padlet? No. Yeah.
Yes, found
okay.
it. Yes, found it. Yeah.
Yeah, the link is posted again. You can see the Padlet.
Yes, ma'am.
.com.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yes.
When you go to that link, you will get a button there below. To the extreme right corner of your screen, there will be a plus sign, just like how we get for mail compose. So you click on that button,
right,
and you get a box where you can type, and students type, and it gets posted automatically.
Okay.
Thank you, teachers, for your motivation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, please find the link for competency and experiential learning. Experiential learning lesson plan and competency based. There are 2 books. There are comics in that. They're really helpful for all subjects, I guess. Oh, sorry. I think my audio was off. I'm so sorry. Lorna, ma'am, you were answering me and I could not hear you. I'm very sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I just found the link. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Please use the CBSE links also. It will help you for sure.
It was very useful. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the lovely session. You spoke very well. You're on mute. You muted yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
so
much. Thank you for all your time and energy spent. I'm sure you must have taken a lot of time to prepare all this, but it was really excellent.
All of us here, the entire team here, my colleague, Ma'am Shaila, and the entire technical team here, all our teachers here, they did a splendid job.
It was a wonderful job. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.